This is what I'm talking about, a fucking live performance, okay? Yes! Love it.
And I try. Oh my God, don't try. I try all the time.
Love it. Look at that face. Look at that expression. Kia ora and welcome. My name is Zoe Stevie and I'm your vocal coach for today because we are going to be taking a look at Linda Perry with What's Up. She's part of the Four Non-Blondes. She wrote the song. This song is so fucking iconic. I don't think a year goes by without at least 2, if not 4 singers singing this song. There's a reason why it stood the test of time, and that's because it really speaks to, I think, the human condition of going like, you know, I'm trying my best, what's going on? So we're going to be taking a look at what is she up to with her vocal technique, how is she creating these sounds, and how can you create them without sounding like you're just screaming your face off. If you've got any questions though, I have a brand new community. I am like pumped as fuck. You can ask me all the questions that you want inside my online community, the Vocal Hub, where we can hang out and talk about analyses, as well as I've got live stream analyses where we're literally doing it with Q&A, and I will scroll back and take a look at it and answer the questions about your performances. So you can check it out in the description below. Let's get to Linda Perry though.
Till 5 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man.
Wow. I don't think I've ever, I mean, obviously I've heard the original, but I don't think I've never seen her sing this live. Okay, so we've got the 25 years of my life is 25 years and my life is still, but actually just on the C4 there. It's from middle C, trying to get up that great big hill of hope. She's got a lot more vocal fold closure though than I do. Mine sounds a little bit more sung, probably thinning out due to thyroid tilt. I feel like she's got a vertical thyroid position there.
25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man, for whatever that means.
Awesome. So we can also hear quite, when I'm saying better vocal fold contact, I think that she's using a little bit more of a 25 years of my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope. She sounds a little more clean. I mean, like when I try and create that sound, I'm not trying to make fun of her. It just sounds like shit in my voice. Yeah, but when we're using a more pressurized vocal fold contact, that can also create a little bit of these distortions that are coming in. I don't know exactly how those are being created. That is not my wheelhouse. I'll put a link in the description below though if you are looking to create a little bit more of that distorted vocal, like a teacher that I recommend down in the description below. So I want you to think a little bit more about this, like vocal fold closure is kind of like key for creating this chest voice sound.
For a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man, for whatever that means. And so it cries sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head, and I feel it a little peculiar.
She's singing way less than I think she is. Wow. Let's go back on that. We're hearing down in the bottom of the range, the vocal folds are not making very good contact. She's going really low. Usually we would go to a bit of a breathier sound. Otherwise we sort of end up having this sort of like a little bit of false vocal fold action kind of. I don't know if that was false. Honestly, I'm not good. I'm learning how to do those things. I've actually started working with a harsh vocals teacher in order to learn how to do that within my own singing because I love these types of sounds, but I'm not teaching them. So we've got, when we go lower in the range though, it's more of that pressurized sound, but that's not what we want necessarily in this sort of sound.
Big hill of hope for a destination.
So she's got for a destination. So she's bringing the lips forward. Sometimes that can be in order to make the aperture of the mouth a little bit smaller so that we've got more back pressure to help with the vocal fold closure.
I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man, for whatever that means. And so it hurts sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head, and I feel it a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath, then I get real high and
I love that. This is what I'm talking about, a fucking live performance, okay? This is what I'm talking about in a live performance. Yes! Love it. Those people look just, do they even know who they listen to like Four Non-Blondes? I get like, it's like now she'd be like playing to stadiums. So let's just watch that again. So I wake in the morning and I step outside and she went to a head voice there. Wake in the morning, very thin vocal fold. Let's just watch that again. I'm excited about this performance.
lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head, and I feel it a little peculiar.
So, and I'm feeling, she's gone to the vertical thyroid, and I'm feeling a little peculiar. She kind of like softened that sound. That's with the thyroid tilt. So what can sometimes happen when we're adding in thyroid tilt, that this will thin the vocal folds. And sometimes those vocal folds do not want to be thin if we have not practiced getting them bit with more vocal fold closure without a lot of that pressure. She's got a little, and so I wake in the morning. There's quite a lot of twang going on there, or AES narrowing. Let's just watch back on that again.
And so it hurts sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head, and I feel it a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath, then I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey.
This is so interesting. I don't think, I mean, look, I don't know Linda Perry, okay? I've never spoken to her. I haven't actually listened to her talk about What's Up in terms of like what she's meaning from it, but it's definitely not about beautiful singing. And I think this is one of the beautiful things about this song is it's not about singing really, really prettily. And that's one thing I kind of like get a little bit upset about when singers bring this into the studio, that they don't understand the ethos of the song. And I say, hey, yeah, yeah. It's almost like a cry of desperation. Hey, yeah, yeah. You know, when you're like that, oh, having a moment to yourself. It's not about pretty singing in that moment. But sometimes it takes to learn how to create the pretty singing to then like disrupt the airflow to make the non-pretty singing. Let's watch that again because I want you to watch her tongue position.
And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath, then I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on?
Can you see that? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah. That's where we're getting that darker sound. Okay, that actually kind of hurt my throat, my jaw when I was doing that. She's going, cut it out. Can you see that actually? It's like the tongue is being basically like folded backwards. Lighting in this room is a bit crap, yeah? It's only supposed to be like here. When she's pulling back on that tongue, that's what we call a little bit of tongue compression. This is similar to what Anastasia does, Cher does, Christina Aguilera, but this is a little bit more extreme. So we've got that, or actually Christina Aguilera does this to an extreme advantage as well, really pulling up that tongue. And I say, hey, yeah, yeah. But the trick is that we're wanting to keep the back of the tongue high and the front of the tongue is what is constricting. That's the trick with this sound. I don't know if she's really focusing on that. I just kind of, it just seems like it's just a bit more of like a cry out.
Hey, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, okay. So we go, what's going on? I really like this performance. And it's not just because there are a couple of pitch things going on at the top of the range. We're really hearing what's actually going on with the voice. And this is what is the most important thing. There is so much audio processing going on in the world of music, and even unfortunately in a lot of live performances, that it ruins your idea. I find it's just really fucking unfair because it ruins your idea of what's actually going on within the voice and what is possible. So that's why I encourage you to firstly go to smaller venues with shittier sound systems. Also go and see more, funnily enough, musical theater. Okay, because that is really where you're going to be hearing a 100% live version. Okay, and I want to encourage you to go to smaller venues. Okay, not just smaller venues with like shittier sounds, but go like your local venue, like. Go to the local pub, go to the local club, like these really tiny venues who are not having any, like, apart from a bit of fucking reverb, there's like no Melodyne on there whatsoever. Go to those venues to convince you, like, to relearn what an actual human voice sounds like. This is what a human voice sounds like. Maybe with a little bit of better pitching. But again, it's fucking Linda Perry. She can do whatever the hell she wants on stage.
I said, hey, what's going on? Try. Oh my God, don't try. I try all the time.
Love it. Love it. Look at that face. Look at that expression. So, ooh, I don't think that is a very sung sound whatsoever. I think she's in a vertical thyroid position. Well, we're noticing every time she goes to do more singing, more of that crackle comes in. I'm not a doctor. I'm not Linda Perry's doctor, but when I hear those sounds, I think something going on within the with the vocal folds themselves. Maybe nodules, maybe something going on. Again, I do not know her voice. I am not saying anything about that. No judgment in that area. But this is what my ears are telling me from that little buzzing that's going on when she's singing. Now, the problem with that, when there's any type of buzzing going on or disruption to the vocal fold closure or the airflow, that when we go into thinner vocal folds, because we have less pressure on them, when we go to the thinner vocal folds, that buzzing ends up being stronger. I teach a number of singers with vocal fold nodules and they've decided to not do anything about them, which is not a problem whatsoever. Everyone has autonomy over their own voice, but there is that limitation. When we do want to sing quieter, there is that buzz and that just has to be accepted. So I think this is what's going on. The thicker vocal fold contact, lower in the range, she's ooh, we got enough vocal fold to kind of hide that, and she go ooh, ooh, ooh. There's like a little bit of that crackle coming in.
Try. Oh my God, don't try. I try all the time in this institution, and I pray. Oh my God, don't pray.
Okay, so it's quite spoken on pitch. So, and I cry, oh my God, do I cry? I mean, she sounds like darker than my voice, right? So we've got that sound, that darkened sound coming from the compressed tongue. Oh my God, do I try? And that little bit of that we could call it crackle, or that kind of the interruption of the sound, the little popping coming in, or the buzz coming in the vocal folds.
In this institution, and I pray, oh my God, do I pray? I pray for single day for a revolution. And so it goes sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. Then I'm feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream.
That sort of sound, though, can be created through a different form of distortion. But I'm not going to make I don't actually know if that's distortion or whether that's something coming anatomically, as I said. So I'm not going to make a call on that. But that is something that can be taught with a teacher to learn more about the distortion, just like to make that more intentional, okay? I like when she got, and so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed. And you notice then she stayed up in that part of the range than when she did the repeat.
Oh my God, do I pray? I pray for single day.
Look at that. I pray every single day. Compressing the tongue really darkens the tone.
For a revolution. And so it goes sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. Then I'm feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream, oh, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah.
At this point, it's not really so much about the singing, okay? But when it comes to this sort of expressive, and we could sort of call this like soft rock, right? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah. Okay, this is about keeping the sound less sung. We wanted to keep that sound quite thick, wanting to keep the vocal fold closure thick. So we don't really want to tilt loads. And I say, hey, yeah, yeah. So we're keeping the sound more contained. It's almost going to feel like you're keeping, I like to think about it like you're keeping a lid on the sound so that it's going to be louder then for the audience. Because with the thicker vocal fold, that's going to then allow the sound to be louder for our audience. So as opposed to, for example, I'll do the two. So if we were to tilt the thyroid and I say, hey, yeah, yeah, as opposed to keeping a vertical thyroid position and I say, hey, yeah, yeah. You can tell me which one of the loudest was. For me, vocally, exactly the same volume, but one sounds slightly more pressurized, which is probably the vertical thyroid, and one sounds more sung. Again, it's just about which one that you're looking for. One is more acceptable within a rock music context. One is more sort of acceptable within sort of like a cry ballady. We looked at actually Chantal Impossible lately. That would be more of that tilted thyroid position for some people who want to sound more sung.
I said, hey, oh, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, oh, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, oh, what's going on? And I say, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah. I said, hey, oh, what's going on?
Oh my God. I've never heard a live performance of this. And it's so exciting to see what the difference is. And you see people sing this type of song. And again, everyone is entitled to sing the song in the way that they want. I don't think that it's meant to be sung like properly in that sense. You can sense that she's really kind of like going for it in terms of like the vocal fold distortions that are going on there. And as I said, I'm not someone who teaches distortions, but we've got a thicker vocal fold. I genuinely, we're hearing a disruption to the vocal tone that could be due to vocal fold fry, but we are hearing the pitch in there, so that could also be due to a false vocal fold sound. So again, I'm not the best person for that sort of thing, so I will put a link in the description below. This sort of thing should be looked at by a singing teacher who actually teaches distorted vocals professionally, because this is a very separate part of singing. Absolutely love that performance. Wow. And we go, ooh. I think she's creating that sound with a little bit more of the AES narrowing, ooh, because over that sort of like open vocal fold, we got a little bit of the breath coming through, bringing in that twang, or the tightening of the area above the larynx is going to help her to create that sound, and help anyone to really create that sound. So wow. Oh my goodness me. Wow. I'm so excited. I love that. I can't believe that I've never seen fucking Four Non-Blondes like in a live context before. How crazy. I'm going to put something really similar up here though, because I'm really excited at the moment to look at some really new music, but music that also the singers in the studio and inside the Vocal Academy are also bringing to their lessons to help you and to help them to understand what's going on. I think this is an anthem, so I can't believe that I haven't looked at it before. I am so excited to work with different incredible singers on their vocal technique, and that's exactly why I am doing literally the last time this year that I'm going to be running my 3-day Find Your True Voice Masterclass series. We are going to be looking at vocal fold closure, which we talked about here, looking at our breathing, which we didn't touch on, but we've touched on in other videos. And we're also going to be talking about what part of the vocal range we should really be working on, so that you can, at the end of those 3 days, have a really solid idea of what your sound is, how to create it, and how you can go and practice it. It's going to be inside my Vocal Hub community. You can check out the link in the description below for your opportunity to sign up. It's going to be the only time that I'm going to be running any masterclasses outside of the Vocal Academy this year. So I'm really excited to see you there. Oh, I'm going to shut up now. Check out the video up here. And just remember, anyone can learn to sing. It's about moving a whole bunch of different muscles. Just like we can learn a sport, we can fucking learn to sing. Just take some work. Right. Happy singing.